So we've already had 2 days of introduction. You've been here this weekend, but have you been here before?
Yes.
Okay. So I was hoping to just go right into the text of the chess. But let's start with just a little bit of breathing meditation to get our minds into an appropriate mindset. So you all know the instructions, so let's just do it. I won't go. So usually we start with a breathing meditation to get our minds into a neutral state, especially if we're traveling out in the city. Like can be a bit turbulent, agitated. So first we get into a neutral state, but then not just leaving it at that, but then before the teaching, we should also cultivate positive motivation. So please think that, in brief, that the purpose of my life means your life is to benefit all sentient beings, and in particular, in order that you may be able to benefit all sentient beings in the best way, the most effective way, that think that I must first achieve the highest state of my potential, that of complete enlightenment. Then and only then will I have all the knowledge, the skills, and abilities to guide sentient beings to be free from suffering, and lead them to the state of enlightenment as well. And therefore, in order to attain the state of enlightenment, then since the attainment of enlightenment has its own causes and conditions, and to learn about those causes and then put them into practice through contemplation and meditation. And therefore I've come to this session this morning. And then you can think, please, that whatever positive merit or energy, merits that we accumulate in our time here this morning, may that only become the cause for all simultaneously attain the state of enlightenment. Okay? All right. Okay, so past 2 days we did a kind of extensive introduction covering what Dharma is, the purpose of practicing Dharma, and then also talking about the particular sort of subject matter of this text by Shantideva, Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra. So now we are in the middle of a chapter, because it's called, translated, guarding introspection. What is it called? Guarding alertness. Okay? So, we're on stanza 58, which is on page 43. Okay, so what we started to cover yesterday, right, in the actual root text, is the trainings, protecting the training of the mind from degeneration. And that had 3 subpoints: protecting with the individual antidotes, the common antidote, and the way of training and meditating on the antidote. Okay? So now, stanza 58 is the way of training and meditating on the antidote. So there. By thinking again and again that after a long time I have won the greatest leisure, I should hold my mind as utterly unshakable as the king of mountains. Okay? So this is a point that we've talked about a lot in the past couple of days, right? So here in this context, when they talk about leisure, actually Namjong, he doesn't like that translation. It's a translation of the Tibetan word, delwa, yeah? And endowments is jorwa. So usually we talk about del jor being the leisure and endowments, right? But since that word leisure has a kind of connotation of, you know, like free time, or on holiday, right? Then Namjong doesn't like that. So you also see that word translated as freedom. And in that context, right, the freedom, as we mentioned before, it's freedom from types of rebirths, yeah, within samsara, which make it extremely difficult, if not impossible, to practice Dharma. Okay? So, yes. So we have freedom from that. And then the endowments, you know, it's like, I mean, you guys know, right? Endowments is like something that you positively have, right? Rather than just being free from something, you know, that you don't have. You know what I mean? So then we were talking about the 5 endowments related to the self, and the 5 endowments related to others or the world, right? Yes? So, in a practical manner, you know, as some of you know from studying the enlightenment genre, you would even just spend a meditation session going through the leisures or the freedoms and endowments one by one. And so, for example, the freedoms, we were saying there's the 4 freedoms of from being reborn in non-human states, and the 4 freedoms even as a human, right? So the 4 freedoms of non-human states is freedom from being born as a hell being, preta, or a hungry ghost, an animal, or a so-called long-life God. So, on a practical manner, you know, later also in the Rambam text, you'll see the descriptions of the suffering that sinning beings experience while in hell lives. And one would then, you know, contemplate those sufferings, think about how difficult it would be to practice Dharma, you know, to engage in virtue, if one was, you know, for example, being boiled in a cauldron full of molten iron. Think about how difficult that would be. Then think, you know, oh, I haven't been born in such a state. And then have a tremendous joy thinking that since I have not been born in such a state, then I have a tremendous ability to practice Dharma, to achieve the great purpose in life. You know? And then fix your mind on that joy. For as long as you can. Yeah. So this is a type of meditation that we call placement meditation. But at the end, it's a placement meditation. Sorry. In general, there's 2 types of meditation: placement meditation and analytic meditation. Okay. So what we did at the beginning of the session, placing our mind on the breath, right? It's a placement meditation because you hold your mind on an object. Okay. Analytic meditation, we're trying to use analysis, reasoning, to arrive at a certain conclusion. But once we arrive at that conclusion, oh, how precious it is that I have this human life, because I'm free from being born as a hell being where I have no chance to practice Dharma, then we you know, use analysis to arrive at that conclusion. But after we arrive at that conclusion, we then switch to a kind of placement meditation. We place our mind in that conclusion. You understand? Okay? So that's the way you know, you do that. And then, you know, in this kind of analytic meditation, it's they say it's better to go very slowly. So even this topic of the precious human rebirth, yes, you might take a month on it, maybe even 6 weeks, 2 months. So you know, maybe every day you go through one of the major endowments, you know, and fixate your mind on the joy, that you are free of those states where you couldn't practice Dharma, or you have the endowments that give you the almost ability, opportunity to practice. And then, as you know from, maybe some of you know, from the enlightenment outlines, then you also go through, after you've identified the precious human rebirth, you then go through, its rarity, and then its preciousness. Yeah. Anyway, its rarity then has three subheadings. Right? Rarity in terms of the number, rarity in terms of the causes, and then rarity in terms of analogy. Yes. So, our new people will look at that later. Maybe. Okay? And then the preciousness is to then contemplate the preciousness in terms of the temporary goals. Temporary goals. So with this human body, we can achieve the temporary goal of a good rebirth in our next life, but also from the next is the standpoint of ultimate goal, we can also attain liberation and enlightenment. And then the third outline of that is, that even 1 second, of course, 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute, 1 second of having this precious human rebirth, we can, accumulate so much merit by meditating on Bodhicitta or meditating on emptiness, even receiving teachings on these topics. We can accumulate a lot of positive karma, causes for enlightenment in a very short amount of time. Okay? And so the whole kind of bigger picture with all of this is kind of what we were talking about yesterday. Right? And what this is talking about here, right? Actually, recognizing that we have such a precious state whereby which we can attain enlightenment in this life, and that it comes only after a long time. Means it's so rare, after a long time means a long time of having not been born with such an opportunity to practice. But now we have it. Right? So then thinking in this way, the preciousness, the rarity, what we can do with this life, then, it becomes very clear what we must do in this life. Put forth our best effort for enlightenment. And therefore, I should hold my mind as utterly unshakable as the king of mountains, means Mount Ling. So it's very, very important that unshakable means, not getting distracted by worldly affairs, not letting others, influence us to, kind of stray from our single point of practice. Yes? Oh, hi. Okay. So, now we move on to the next. So, the next, there's more outlines that Gyaltsab Rinpoche gives in his commentary. So now, it's the way of training in morality of accumulating virtuous Dharma. Okay? So, I'm not sure if we mentioned before, but in general, when we talk about the practice of morality, there's 3 types of training practices. There's a training from refraining from wrongdoing, yeah. Then there's a training in accumulating virtuous Dharma, and then there's a training of benefiting sentient beings. Okay, so those are the 3 types of morality that are talked about in the kind of Bodhisattva's practice. One who is wishing for full enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, is practicing these three types of morality. In general, so remember we were talking yesterday about the Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas who are who have as their goal for their practice the mere attainment of nirvana for themselves alone. So they practice the morality of restraining from wrongdoing. But, you know, of course, they accumulate virtuous dharma and they do benefit sentient beings. But that's not the kind of emphasis of their practice. The emphasis of their practice is just mere restraint from wrongdoing. Yeah? Okay. So, now this way of training in the morality of accumulating virtuous dharma, there's the first, abandoning attachment for the cause not to train in morality, that is the body. Okay? So, anyway, let's talk about this, right? 59. If, mind, you are not made unhappy when this body is dragged and tossed about by vultures greedy for flesh, then why are you so concerned about it now? Okay? So, basically, it's like this. Why don't we train in morality? What makes it so difficult for us to train in morality? It's because we have attachment to the body and also, sense pleasures, basically the eight worldly concerns, right? A strong attachment to this life, you know? And, but of all the things, since it's our body that we've had, since birth, it's always been with us, it always accompanies us where we go, then the attachment to the body is the kind of strongest, right? So, now, that's your own body, of course, and the bodies of others, by the way. Yeah. So, actually, one of the primary ways to overcome attachment to the body is, contemplating our death, right? And, to even meditate on our own impending mortality. There's a very precious teaching that Namjong gave here when he came one time. It's called, translated as Heart School, right? The teaching by Rinpoche, where he gave the advice to think about this every day. We would actually kind of another type of meditation. Think about, yourself on your deathbed. Thinking about what that would be like. Thinking about, all your friends and loved ones around you, kind of crying and pleading, right? Thinking, how it's like, just there, helpless, and knowing that your death is very imminent. So, it is said actually for us beginners, then that meditation on death and impermanence is the strongest antidote for our afflictions. So, most of the things that we get up to in our lives, actually. When you face of death, then it becomes very apparent, very obvious that those things don't matter at all. Whether we've had, I don't know, had dinner at all of the top-rated restaurants, or not, whether we have become a billionaire or not, whether we have 1,000 Facebook friends or whatever, right? All these things that take up so much of our time. In the face of our death, as I said, the only thing that will matter, the only thing that was going to go with us is the subtlemost mind. Even our body doesn't go with us. So on that subtlemost mind, the imprints from our karma, virtue or non-virtue, that's going to go with us to the next life. Everything else is, the Tibetans say, like pulling a hair from butter. So if there is a hair in a stick of butter, only the hair leaves and the butter is behind. So like that, all of our worldly concerns, worldly activities is like the butter, and only the subtlemost consciousness goes on to the next life. Okay. So, stanza 60. Holding this body as mine, why mind do you guard it so? Since you and it are separate, what use can it be to you? So in this other translation, rather than using the word separate, he uses the word distinct. It's probably better. Because, separate to me, it's like, totally different. But, distinct. Yeah? I mean, conventionally speaking, our body is mind, right? But, it's distinct in the sense that, especially when we think about future lives, which is, by the way, we were saying the other night, that's the first kind of what qualifies us as a Dharma practitioner, actually, is to prioritize the happiness of our future lives more than the happiness of this life. Right? Seeing that this life is very fleeting, maybe, I don't know, some of the young ones, maybe you'll live another 50 years, 60, who knows? Max, maybe 70. Dusha, what are you, 20, 22? Huh? 70? Definitely not 100. Right? Definitely not 100. Maybe 70. Maybe. Max. But it could be today too. Right? Could be today too. So, but the way we act, is like we're going to live forever. So, anyway. Just in France, when I was on the retreat with leadership, he was talking about attachment to the body. He was making this kind of a little bit joke kind of comment, but it's actually a Dharma teaching. But just having us contemplate everything we do to take care of this body, and then, especially maybe because it was France, he was talking about how much we, maybe, I don't know, many of you, but some people, maybe the audience, how much they spend on makeup, just as an example. So don't get me wrong, don't get Shantideva wrong, don't get Namjong wrong. Yes, this body is important, and we're going to get to it later. But but rather think of the body like a boat, right? Or something that we use to benefit others. So it's not that we despise the body, right? Although you'll see in certain contexts they'll talk about it as unclean, what's going to be torn apart by vultures, all that. Yes, that's to lessen excessive attachment we have to the body. But we shouldn't go into self-mortification or torturing ourselves, because it is with this body that we're going to attain enlightenment in this life. Yeah. So, also you guys should understand this point. Whenever you're reading a text, then understand the context and then not go too far with the conclusion. Right? So of course, when we're trying to lessen the attachment, then you think of it as disgusting. Because attachment, it exaggerates the positive qualities of something. Right? So then if you have an exaggeration of the positive, you meditate on the negative. But if you're having, let's say, like anger arise towards someone else, at that time, since you're already viewing them so negative, then don't do this meditation on uncleanness of their body. You'll then, just get more negative. Right? I mean, there's many examples of this, right? In terms of people too, right? There's the contemplation, how all of our relationships, even friendships, are constantly in flux. So relative to someone, you have excessive attachment to, desire. Then an antidote to that is to reflect that they've been our enemy, they've been our murderer, they've been our torturer countless times in the past. Right? Yes. Since the beginning of the samsara rebirth, we've had every type of relation with one another. Right? But, so in the context of stopping excessive attachment to someone, you think like that. But later, when we start to develop Bodhicitta, there's the thought that all sentient beings have been our mother. Right? All sentient beings have been our mother, and showered us in kindness. Right? So that is the entirely different purpose, right? Different purpose for the mind training. So there, when we meditate that all sentient beings have been our mother, it's so that we get a sense of closeness, a sense that all sentient beings are near, dear, and lovable to us. Right? So at that time, we don't think that they've been our enemy. you just focus on the mother. So we have to be very skillful with our minds, and that's why we listen to the teachings, we read different commentaries, but we also contemplate before we meditate. And then so each of one of these teachings or little type of trainings, we should know the purpose, so that we then don't destroy the purpose of the meditation by having the doubt. Wait, all sentient beings have been my mother. Oh, but wait a minute. He also is saying all sentient beings have been my torturer. So why should I love this one? So don't think like that. Okay? So now we get into the impurity of the body. Okay? With that, say in the context of that, knowing the purpose of this, we're now going to talk about impurity of the body. Okay? Why confused mind do not hold on to a clean, moving form? What is the point of guarding this putrid, dirt-filled machine? Okay? Yeah. So again, this can be done in relation to oneself. It can be also done in relation to others. Okay? Actually, in the 8th chapter, the chapter on meditation, Shantideva uses this meditation, actually, which was taught by Buddha. Okay, it's not something Shantideva made up, but he did it especially in relation to the objects of attachment. For who is the primary audience of this text?
Monks.
Guru monks. So there, he's talking about the uncleanliness of a woman's body. Okay? Hey, you're going to see later. It's in chapter 8. I'm just going to tell you now, so you have a few months to prepare. Okay? But remember we were talking about yesterday, you can exchange. Right? So, yeah. So anyway, one of the things, right? We have again, attachment exaggerates the positive qualities of something, right? So actually, I think you guys maybe have heard, right? But well, basically, all of our suffering arises from ignorance, distorted views of reality, right? And so there's, when we talk about the 4 noble truths, there's the 4 distorted views of reality related to the truth of suffering, whereby we look at what is actually impermanent in nature as being permanent, right? We look at what is actually suffering in nature, right? We look at as happy or pleasant. We look at things that are actually impure in nature as being pure. And we look at things that are actually selfless, not lacking intrinsic essence. We view that as having a self, right? And so as an antidote to that, viewing what is impure in nature means our bodies or other people's bodies. We then have to meditate on its impurity. And one of the ways that that's done is to, do this mental separation. I mean, putrid, dirt-filled machine, one of the meditations is to, even that nice food that we eat, right, looks so nice on the plate, we chew it, then what happens to that food? It looks a little bit different when it comes out. then there's nothing attractive in that at all, right? Yes? So, it's really true. So it's almost like, one way of putting it is like, you can see the byproducts that our body produces is all, disgusting, right? So, if what we're producing is disgusting, what does that say about the producer? Yeah. I can tell some stories. Can I tell a story? I don't know if you guys will like this. It's very, very interesting. How we use it to practice, right? How we use it to practice. So there's one kind of big center of learning within this, the overall umbrella organization that Choe is a part of. It's in Italy, the Namjong Institute. And they have, kind of extensive study programs there. They're open to both lay people and monastics. Okay? So there was a man from England who then went to Italy to study. But he had a girlfriend back in Italy. Sorry, in England. Yeah? And then, when they would talk on the phone, like, girlfriend would say, "Oh, I miss you so much. When are you coming back? When can I see you?" And so, it becomes an obstacle for him, right? All this attachment, all this thinking about the girlfriend always wanted, him to come back. So he talks to the abbot, or I guess the main teacher there, for advice. And you know what the abbot said? You might not like it. But the abbot said, take some of your poo-poo and mail it to him.
How did he respond?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I should find out, actually. Yeah. Anyway. How would you respond if you get that in the mail from your boyfriend? Honey, I know you miss me so much. I'm sending you a little memento for you to remember me. And
But that should also be seen in context. And then I'm sure the girlfriend will be alright.
I hope so. If she's practicing Dharma, But see, really, at one point, I would hope a real strong Dharma practitioner would think, right? oh, wow, this, my boyfriend, whatever, right? Going to Italy to do extensive studies, so great, good. I want him only to have success in that, Like, even in the Buddha's own life story, right? He had been married and then leaves the kingdom, right? Or leaves the palace to go out and search for his enlightenment. Now, some people in intro courses, it's like, he's a deadbeat dad, how dare he just abandon his family. But I think the wife, yes, what was it? Yeah. I heard that she actually, kind of packed his bag and supported.
Encouraged.
What? Encouraged, yeah.
I don't know if that's true. I was also told that when after Buddha came back, she was the one who suggested that there should be a monastic order for the women, right?
I think so. So, it's kind of like this, right? It's very easy to say, I love you, right? No, really. But no, seriously. To our boyfriend, girlfriend, right? But you see, when you look at it from the Dharma perspective, okay, the real love, not what we see in the Bollywood movie, right? The real love is just the pure wish that someone else be happy, right? I want you to be happy. I want you to be happy. And what are we learning here? Where does happiness come from? Dharma practice. Right? So, if you really want someone to be happy, it means you really want, you really love them, you want them to practice Dharma as best they can. Right? So that, when they want to go to another country, when they want to ordain, whatever, right? Wow, yes. I want you to be happy more than I want you to be with me. You know that? Be with me? What is that? Attachment. So, yeah, anyway, it's tough. Okay. So, next is contemplating the lack of essence of the body. Okay? So, stanza 62 on page 44. First of all, mentally separate the layers of skin from the flesh, and then with the scalpel of discrimination separate the flesh from the skeletal frame. And having split open even the bones, look right down to the marrow. While examining this, ask yourself, where is its essence? It's very, very interesting. It's actually just a little stone's throw away from meditating on the ultimate nature of the body, right? But you know, which is actually one of the probably the best antidote for attachment. You know, to also think like this. See, when we view the item or whatever it is, the object, as being attractive, right? You know, we say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but to the appearance of the deluded, ignorant mind, we see or we conceive of the beauty being established from the side of the object, right? Yes? I mean, I've said some examples of this, right? It's a little bit on PC, but you know, the beauty contests on TV, Miss Universe, or whatever, right? We would have the fact that people would argue, right? Who's number one, and say, no way, it's that one, not this one, right? It's this thought that the beauty is there. Otherwise, there'd be no argument. Or when we go to a shop and we see an attractive item, then we want to buy it because, you know, the beauty's there. If I buy it, I possess the beauty, I get the goodness. Right? So then even to think, you know, where actually that beauty is, you see, if it's coming from the side of the object, then it should be somehow findable there on that object. Right? So we've done this before with, you know, the woman's hair, right? Sorry, or the man's hair. Well, I don't have it. Okay? But sorry, I just have to say. See, especially in this country, can I just say, like, you know, you look at the advertisements, it's much more about the woman's hair, okay? So I'm just going to use that, right? Of course, men, it's like, you know, a lot of advertisements, you know, for like anti-balding stuff, right? But the long, kind of flowing, beautiful hair, a woman, that's like hell is quite beautiful. But then, check. Where is the beauty, right? And so, you know, they would even say to just contemplate, you know? Take one of the hairs. Is that beautiful? Huh? Second hair, third hair, fourth hair, you know. There's no beauty found there. No, Namjong, it's not one hair. Don't be silly. It's the whole hair altogether. But then, you know, you go to the beauty salon, you know, Shabida's becoming a nun tomorrow, you shave off all her hair, it's there on the ground of the beauty salon. Is that something beautiful? You pick it up off the ground. Huh? No way. Right? So where's the beauty? Then we do that with anything else, right? Oh, no, okay, yeah, her hair is no beauty, but her skin, fair and lovely. All these other products that we use, right? I mean, right? All these creams, moisturizers, right? The skin. It's the same thing, you know? Peel off that skin. Peel off the sheet of skin. Right? eyes are so beautiful. Right? Then, take one on the table. Seriously? She has such a beautiful smile. Oh, really. They have her teeth on the table. So here Shantideva is talking about, not being able to find any essence. Right? So it's actually very related because you see, here actually what Shantideva is maybe saying is, you can't even find the body actually under analysis. Right? Where is the body? Right? The skin isn't the body, the head isn't the body, the muscles aren't the body. You go part by part. Then you can't even find a body. Right? So then if there's no body in essence existing from its own side, then of course there can't be the beauty of the body existing from its own side. Now don't get me wrong. Here we're getting into the ultimate versus conventional reality. Conventionally, the body does exist. Right? Conventionally, beauty exists. Right? But the beauty that we're conceiving when we get so attached, isn't this the beauty that does exist, actually? It's an inflated, superimposed hallucination of beauty from the side of the object, and that one doesn't exist at all. That one is a hallucination. Yet, just like the appearance of something attractive in a dream, if you don't understand the dream to be a dream, you could be very attached to that dream appearance. So anyway, thinking in this way, then it's just a dream. Right? It's just a hallucination, therefore not going to be attached to. See? And this is what Shantideva is saying in the next stanza. If, even when searching with such effort, you can apprehend no essence, then why, with so much attachment, are you still guarding this body now? Right? So this here, Gyaltsab is saying, right? The excessive grasping is unsuitable. Right? So remember again. Conventionally, your body does exist. Conventionally, your body is very precious. Right? But why? Because we're going to use it to practice Dharma. Okay? But anything more than that is unsuitable. Okay? So next, the reason why it's unsuitable to be attached to the body. What use is this body to you if its dirty insides are unfit for you to eat, if its blood is not fit to drink, and if its intestines are not fit to be sucked? At second best, it is only fit to be guarded in order to feed the vultures and jackals. Okay? Truly, this body of a human being should only be employed in the practice of virtue. So, I don't know. Do I have to keep reminding us? So, you know, if you have boiling water, right, it's too hot to drink. Now, you put a few ice cubes in there, right? You also don't want freezing cold water. You want something to drink. But if the water at first is boiling, you can add ice cubes to it, right? To get the water to be something nice. Okay. So here, these stanzas are for our minds that are boiling with attachment to bodies. So, you know, Shantideva is throwing a lot of cold water on that. But, you know, you also have to be skillful when to stop thinking like this. Okay. For most of us, it's not there yet. But yeah. Anyway, I mean, but Shantideva does get to that point, right? Since, right, this body of a human being should only be employed in the practice of virtue, and since it's a great basis with which to practice virtue, then it's precious. But anything else, you know, excessive attachment. Okay? So, so the next outline, Shantideva says, because the body disintegrates quickly, it is suitable to practice virtue. Okay? So, yet instead you should guard it. Yet should you instead guard it with attachment, then what will you be able to do when it is stolen by the unsympathetic lord of death and given to the dogs and birds? So as I was saying before, right? This thought, the unsympathetic lord of death, I mean, it's a kind of personification of death. Unsympathetic means when the time of our death comes, you know, there's no one we can say, oh hey, can you come back in maybe 5 years? I have to finish my Dharma practice, right? It'll come without warning, without means to delay, even by 1 second. You know? That's why the Lord of Death is unsympathetic. Yeah? Okay? So, as I was saying, because the time of death is uncertain, to put it, those of you who have studied enlightenment would know, right? Because we're going to die, we must practice Dharma. Yeah? Because the time of death is uncertain, we have to practice Dharma now. And because at the time of our death, the only thing that's going to matter is, you know, our Dharma practice, how much virtue we've accumulated, any realizations we have, then we have to practice, well, they say either practice only Dharma or practice Dharma purely. Right? Means anything else just totally pales in comparison in importance to our Dharma practice. Yeah? Okay. So next, Gyaltsab says, an example of how it is inappropriate to do nothing and procrastinate due to grasping. Procrastinate? I'll practice Dharma, Namjong, I hear you. But tomorrow, next week, next year, after my kids graduate from university. Yeah, keep putting it off. Yeah. If servants are not getting clothing and so forth when they are unable to be employed, then why do you exhaust yourself looking after the flesh alone when, even through caring for the body, it goes elsewhere? Yeah. Now, having paid my body its wages, I shall engage in it by making my life meaningful. However, if my body is of no benefit, then I shall not give it anything. Okay? So this is quite related, you know. See, because we have such an excessive attachment to it, now in this case, our body, right? Then we spend all of our time, you know, getting the nicest food, the nicest kind of clothing, you know, the comfortable bed, surroundings, car, AC, all these things to take care of and pamper the body, right? But then seeing, right? You know, we exhaust ourselves. It means we spend all of our time, our energy, our resources, money, whatever, looking after the body alone. But even through caring for the body, it goes elsewhere. Which, I mean, is the same. You know, at our time of death, it's not coming with us. So why are we spending all this time that, in the face of death, is, you know, shown to be lacking essence, lacking any ultimate meaning? Okay? But, okay, although it would be foolish to look after the flesh alone, see, we still have to eat, we still need to sleep, we still need to go from place to place. But the thought should be, having paid my body its wages, so think of the body like a, you know, our worker, that, you know, we pay the wages of food, enough food to, you know, sustain us, keep us going. We pay the body, you know, whatever, its wages of food, sleep, taking care of health, all that. But then, I shall engage in it by making life meaningful. You know? But if my body is of no benefit, I shall not give it anything. So, you know, like thinking of the body of the servant. The servant does the work that we like, then it gets the wage. But if it doesn't do the work, hey, then you don't pay, right? So I should conceive my body as a boat, a mere support for coming and going, and in order to benefit all others, transforming it into a wish-fulfilling body. Yeah. Very nice. Yes? So, ultimately, you know, the Bodhisattva actually, I wonder, actually might cherish the body more than we do, but for an entirely different reason. You know? Cherish this body because with this body it can accomplish works that benefit others. You know? Actually, you see, even the Buddhas, you know, they manifest in bodies to benefit sentient beings, right? This is a kind of, you know, unelaborated expanse of the Dharmakaya, the omniscient mind of the Buddha, right? But that omniscient mind of the Buddha can't be perceived by ordinary beings like ourselves, right? So, I mean, we've talked about the various bodies of Buddha, but, you know, the Dharmakaya, or the omniscient mind of Buddha, right? That's only they call that actually the body for one's own purpose, right? Means we will attain that omniscient mind of the Buddha, which is characterized by the full abandonment of all faults of the minds and their imprints, and the complete development of all good qualities. So that primarily is like, they say, for our benefit. Right? But then the Rupakaya, or the form bodies of Buddha, then that's the body for others' benefit. Why? Because with the body, actually the most important thing that the Buddhas do is, because they have a mouth, they can then teach Dharma to others. But even less than that, they can carry someone's backpack up the stairs, right? They can, cook momos for someone else. They can do all these activities that benefit others with their body. So in that sense, even a bodhisattva would regard the body as something very precious. But totally different from a worldly view of themselves. Okay, so next, Joseph J is going to talk about how to be skillful in practicing virtue. And here there's an outline, first one, making ordinary actions beautiful. So then, the next stanza, how to act when meeting others. Okay? Now, while there is freedom to act, I should always present a smiling face and cease to frown and look angry. I should be a friend and counsel of the world. Okay? Hi, Subhashini. This is a very, very interesting kind of point. And something actually that Namjong just brought up a few weeks ago. Actually, the Dalai Lama talks about this too. You see, even when you smile, right? Okay, as long as the Dalai Lama talks about it like this. I think, I don't know, maybe some years ago, quite a few years ago, he went to, I think it was the UK, and there was actually people there who were protesting against him. I think it was, some Christians perhaps, and they were, had a very strong view that, can we say, that, only through the acceptance of Jesus as your personal savior does one get salvation, does one go to heaven. So His Holiness, who doesn't accept that, then, in my view, then he's going to hell. Right? So these people were protesting, and then one person gave the Dalai Lama a shirt that says, "Jesus loves you." So His Holiness, with utmost, humility, gratitude, takes the shirt and puts it on his head, and smiles and gives it back, So what he said, he's like, see, at that time, what to do, right? These people are, criticizing, yelling, and blah, blah, blah. But from my side, from his side, he said, from my side, if I just try to maintain an attitude of love and smile, it benefits me, right? Whether it benefits the other person, that's up to them, right? But, usually, and I've learned this a little bit by traveling in foreign countries where I don't speak the language, but the smile is kind of the universal language of friendliness, right? And wherever you go, right, you smile, and then many times people will smile back, right? So even that is a little small action that we do that can make the world a better place, right? Because what we bring to the room, what we bring to the crowded bus, what we bring to wherever we go, our attitude does affect. So, Shantideva is saying, how do we act when we meet others? Always wear a smile, right? Always present a smiling face, cease to frown and look angry, and be a friend and counsel to the world. Yeah? What do you think? Nice, right? So, maybe it's worth saying. Although Sanna was there in her, how do you say, in her usual place. Now the generator or something. So if you guys need a break, we have some refreshments. Some samosas. So real happiness. Right? So we eat the samosa. Remember, we're giving our bodies the wages. Okay? So our bodies have been good, we came to the teaching. Meditating on the teaching, it takes a lot of mental effort. So now we give our body a small reward. So for the second half of the teaching, it can be alert, intelligent, like this. But Subhashini, since you came late, you don't get a full day's wages. I don't know, I think you only came for like 15 minutes. You did one for an hour and a half. So that's 1/6 of the samosa.
No proceeding. I've overpaid my wages. So she can take my samosa. No problem. I've been overpaying myself. More than the wages.
You got an advance on next month's salary. No, I'm joking. No, Subhashini, you can have a full samosa. I'm just joking. Okay? So let's, again, not just eat with attachment, but actually it's very good we make an offering. Okay? So in general, food offering, there's several ways to do it. Okay? I think Shantideva is going to talk about this a little bit later. Okay? But on the one hand, actually let's jump forward a little bit because it's very I I just saw this in the commentary. Maybe it's in Gyaltsabje's commentary. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember where I saw it. Oh, yes. It's in this one. Alright, it's not in the new text, but it's in Gyaltsabje's commentary. Anyway, there's different ways to offer food. Okay? When Nagarjuna is led to a friend, he says, that we eat this food not out of attachment, not to look strong, but only to sustain the body. Right? So it's this kind of paying the body's wages. Okay? First. Second, this is how now Bodhisattvas also act. All of the kind of living beings in our intestine and digestive tract, okay, some are sentient, some are not sentient. Okay? So we can also think as we eat that we're making charity of this food, which they will also consume, right? Yes? And then think that in the future, there might be, I don't know, thousands of millions, of sentient beings. Right? So we think that later, I'll give them the supreme food of Dharma. It means later then when we become Buddhas, or even high Bodhisattvas, due to this prayer, may they be reborn in my retinue of disciples, and may I give them the food of Dharma. Then, of course, there's more things we can do, but without getting into it too much, we can also just think that the Buddha is abiding either at our throat or at our hearts, or our guru, right? And then as we eat, we are offering to the Buddha, not just the samosa, but even the pleasant taste experience. We offer that to the Buddha. Yes? You guys don't have the prayer books. So anyway, we can think, don't get them. But there's a verse we say. First we consecrate the food. Even this thing, Om Ahum. Om Ahum is a very, kind of the shortest mantra. Actually, Om would be the shortest, but anyway. It represents the body, speech, and mind of the Buddha. So we say Om Ahum, Om Ahum. And then, if you can, think that even the food, right, doesn't possess inherent existence from its own side. Right? And then there's different verses one can say, but one is we make offering to the three jewels. So, to the precious teacher, the Supreme Buddha, the precious refuge, the Supreme Dharma, the precious guides, the Sangha, to the three jewels of refuge, I make this offering. And then we can also offer to the Guru, thinking that the Guru is actually the embodiment of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Right? So to then say that the Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, the Guru is the Sangha also, the Guru is the creator of all happiness. Why? Because, all the happiness that we get, that we experience, have experienced, are experiencing, will experience, is due to what? The virtue that we've accumulated in the past, actually. That's the primary cause. If we hadn't practiced virtue, like we were saying yesterday with the people in Africa, if you don't have the cause to receive a samosa, you will not get a samosa. Yeah? There's even stories where, there was one shipment of water or food or some kind of supplies to Africa, and it was sent from wherever, somewhere in the West. The whole like cargo plane of this stuff. Then by the time, they unpacked it in Africa and the food had spoiled. The water had become contaminated. Right? Anyway. So because it's our guru that taught us to be generous, to practice virtue, then we receive this happiness. So in that way, the guru is the creator of all happiness. To all gurus, I make this offering. Okay. Enjoy. You have to understand. Otherwise, then you go to other teachings and they'll just do the chanting, Om, 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 then like no one understands. No one understands, it's just some kind of exotic Tibetan chanting. And it's not that meaningful. Right? So now we understand. Do we? This is what we're saying, with the right mindset, this is what you're saying, right? Even ordinary actions make it into virtue. Right? So even something like, having a cup of coffee, it can be a bodhisattva activity if you do it with the mind of Bodhicitta. And especially, Shantideva is going to talk about this soon, but making offerings to 3 types of fields, the field of qualities, the field of kindness, and the field of suffering, we accumulate especially a lot of merit. Right? So by remembering the 3 jewels, remembering the guru, and offering the first portion of that to the Dhamma and Sangha, one accumulates so much merit.